What's up, people? I'm Shaggy, the Opinionated Hippie, continuing my deep dive into Neil Young's Everything catalog. Today it's Friday when I'm dropping this video, so that means it's another studio release. His 40th, The Visitor, which was released in 2017. Realizing that that's the date that this was released in, like, actually made me sad because I've been doing Neil Young's entire career, starting with his very first solo album, doing every studio album, doing the CSNY offshoots and the stills and Pearl Jam and live albums and archival releases. And it has been an absolutely amazing experience just on a personal level, like to just have such a now a deep appreciation for such a singular artist, not only for a single artist, but for such a singular artist. And here we are, 40 studio albums in, and this is a fun album. Like, there are moments on here that are made me like, oh, okay, you don't need to be doing that, but you did it, and you didn't do it before, so it's kind of like you're still kind of trying to forge your own paths through the woods as you do your own thing, Neil. So, like, all the love, all the respect. If you are going in order in the studio albums, you noticed that last week I did album number 38. This is album number 40. I did Hitchhiker, which was the 39th release, way back in the 70s when it was recorded. So some of the ones, which makes me sadder because I look like there's like 10 or so left, but I'm like, I've already done like 4 or 5 of these because they're like archival releases that were just not released until recently. So yeah, this journey's coming to an end. But the end of this road is still a hell of a blast. Is that a phrase? A hell of a blast. This is with the promise of the real, his second studio album with them, and it seems like they figured something out a little more than they did on the first one. Like, he understands what kind of heaviness Promise of the Real can provide him, and we do have a couple songs on here which lean into the heavy, that lean into the weird, but we still have that Promise of the Real country flavor. When we get to, like, there's a couple songs that have that Neil Young strangling the guitar, maybe bringing a little more what sounds like Crazy Horse energy. You can hear the way you can listen to these songs, like almost the opening song, Already Great, is kind of like that. Fly By Night Deal, kind of like that. Another song called Stand Tall. There's like 3 songs early on, which you could imagine Crazy Horse doing, and you could probably imagine Pearl Jam doing. But I really like the way Promise of the Real does it, and Neil seems to have figured out what to do with this band, and it works. There's a couple songs on here which are just like there's a straightforward country blues. It's kind of a silly song. That's about it. There's a weird country talking thing where he's not really singing, but he's doing more of a talk type thing, which I don't think is one of his strengths. There is a song on here which I'm not going to guarantee that, but which I predict people either love, or they don't, they hate. I guess that would be the opposite of love. But there's a song on here which I think I would be surprised if many people fell in the middle of the spectrum on whether or not they like this. So a fascinating album. So I'm going to talk about it some more. I'm going to go through each song and I'm going to rank it among the other, how many have I done so far? 47 other ones. So yeah, we'll see where this falls. A lot of this is driven by Donald Trump running for president in 2016, Make America Great Again. He doesn't call out Trump by name, but the first song is called Already Great, sort of a reaction to Donald Trump's Make America Great Again. There's a song that's just Lock Him Up as the opening chant. It goes, lock him up, lock him up. And then we get a Liar in Chief later on. So there seems to be some protest energy in here coming from like what is actually happening in the United States at the time. Sadly, still happening now. The opening song is Already Great, just musically swag, kind of a heavy groove. The band sounds super confident. The energy is super high. It's like they have figured out how to like be heavy with Neil in A Promise in the Real. Like right off the bat, I'm like, this is some good energy. These sound like two artists like working together and like figuring something out. The song's about kind of being a Canadian in America. It's a response to MAGA. There's a no fascist USA chant at the end. It's aggressive. It's energetic. It's kind of a political protest. The end of it, we get a whose streets, our streets, whose streets, our streets for a while. So very political, but well done, not too preachy. And if it is too preachy, it's buried in the aggression and it's buried in the guitar noises. Fun, awesome opening number. The second number is really, really just all over interesting. It's got this weird pop rock thing that sounds a little bit like My Morning Jacket in like their later half of their career, doing something like shorter and poppier, and a little bit of like Unknown Mortal Orchestra around their like 2010 period, the Multi-Love album, like that kind of weird psych pop they were doing, but it's Neil weird pop. He does this, I don't want to call it rapping because I hope that's not what he's trying to do, like just this yelling. There's this really loud harmonica that comes in at the end that actually works. It's a fun song. It's a weird song. It's got parts that I'm definitely are like cringy. I'm like, I want you to try to sing, Neil. Just give it your all. I don't need the yelling. I don't need the sort of, kind of sounds like he's rapping, but he knows his limitations, so he's not trying to flow too hard. It works and it doesn't, but I think it's kind of fun. Next up, the song to give away the ending, my favorite song on this album, Almost Always. It feels like a comfortable classic Neil vibe. Acoustic, some harmonica that is both haunting at a time like reassuring and gentle. The opening line of the song is, lately I have been thinking. And you're like, all right, that's what we got. Neil's looking back at his past. We know what this song's going to be about. It's just a really nice, thoughtful, not necessarily nostalgic, but like reflective Neil country, folky Americana song, classic Neil vibe. The melody is perfect. The performance is perfect. The sound is perfect. It contrasts really nicely with the two opening songs. Fantastic, fantastic song. Next is Stand Tall. For Earth, we're standing tall for Earth. There's like elements of like maybe talking heads, not the band, but like TV talking heads arguing over something political that kind of play in the beginning, in the middle, at the end. There's moments where we lean into like your crazy horse heaviness. We have some really nice tasty guitar throughout this thing. Big neo rock song. The song itself is maybe a little forgettable, but the energy, the music, the performance, the idea, stand tall for a woman's right to be equal, stand tall for Mother Earth, those kind of things, they all work, and the energy's good. It's a little bit of drop off from the first three songs, but it's not a bad song. Change of Heart is that one with the weird country talking. Feels like you're strolling and whistling while Neil's like, yeah, so what do you do? I mean, I don't know. The energy doesn't really work for me. It's kind of a long song. I don't think this is his strength as far as vocal performance goes. It's like a growth story musically. Like I kind of like the lyrics. I kind of like this sort of, he doesn't get too specific with events in his life as he sometimes will, but it's just about like spiritual growth and being reflective, not nostalgic, but more reflective about growing up. I like it musically. I kind of like it lyrically. The vocals are a no for me. And it's just like, I don't like this version of Neil. And then next is the song, which I think will generally divide people on whether or not they like it or despise it. It's a song called Carnival. And it sounds like it would be like if somebody were to make like how long is it? It's like a 10-minute song or like an 8-minute song, like an 8-minute psych, low budget horror Western, not even a horror Western, just maybe like a Freaks type Western where you're trying to like really like unsettle the viewer. It almost literally sounds like a literal trip, like a literal psychedelic trip at a carnival. There are these moments that drop into like psych whimsy stuff like you would hear on like Being for the Benefit of Mr. Kite, or like weird musical interludes that he drops in Crime in the City from Freedom. There's this opening repeated guitar riff that I think every time I listen to it, I'm like, you got to go back and check, but I never go back and check. I'm pretty sure it's Blind Faith's Well All Right, but this weird twisted kind of mangled, and then we go into this just weird psych country western that is over the top. It's crazy. It's definitely, it sounds like a soundtrack to some weird carnival psych low budget movie. I could imagine people Neil's performance completely over the top. He's hamming it up. It sounds like if Danny Elfman were going to do some weird western thing, this is like the performance he would give. I think it's fantastic. Neil is sounding like he's having the time of his life. He is committing to every little bit of this. I like the little psych interludes. I like that well, all right, copped riff. Fantastic. 8.5 minutes of almost near perfection. Love it. Next is Children of Destiny, which I don't really care for. It's kind of has this weirdly aggressive rock energy, and then there's all these orchestral elements that come in, and then this choir kind of, it's Neil leading, but there's several voices behind him, so it gives this choir effect. It's like stand up for what you believe in. Can't really say I care for the song, but this big loud thing at one point drops into this almost Paul McCartney Let It Be song. Long and Winding Road type sweetness with a little like strings in the back that I don't care for. But right at the tail end of that like Paul McCartney Long and Winding Road section, there is a melody that reminds me of Gordon Lightfoot. It's a little Early Morning Rain. It's a little, if you could read my mind, if I could read your mind, if you could read my mind now, if you could read my mind now. Has a little bit of Gordon Lightfoot in there. And a couple albums ago, he did that covers album in which he did 2 Gordon Lightfoot songs. So I'm thinking maybe that is intentional. But that like wins me over. I'm like, okay, like that's actually really good. And I think he returns to it only twice in the song, but both times I'm like, that kind of made it all worthwhile, to be honest. So I kind of like that song. Another song called I skipped a song. Did I skip a song? Oh, I skipped Digging a Hole, which is this weird, straightforward country blues song in which we hear the lines, my grandchildren, my grandchildren, my grandchildren, my grandchildren. Not many people sing about their grandchildren in songs, so Neil gets points for that. When Bad Got Good, which has the chance of Lock 'Em Up and Liar in Chief, short little, very loose, jammy blues vibe. At the very end, we get like footsteps walking down like a concrete hallway. Like it sounds like maybe they're walking somebody like to a prison cell. But then we don't get the like satisfaction of a prison cell door slamming shut or something, just like he got locked up. I think it's implied more than actually told to us. And then the last song is Forever. It's like 10 minutes long. It's your acoustic, comfortable Neil song. Earth is like a church without a preacher. It's Neil singing big about humans and our relationship to nature and earth and life. And it's that patient, take my time. I got many verses to sing. I'm in no rush. Just very comforting, classic, familiar Neil vibe that he's still able to deliver at a high level. What is this? Almost more 50 years into his career. Just phenomenal stuff. Really, really, really fun album. I really enjoyed it. Yeah. And I think it starts strong, it ends strong. There are high points throughout it. The songs that are bad or the songs that are on the weaker end are nowhere bad. The couple things he does when he does his talk singing, I'm like, okay, I don't need to hear that, but what's going on musically is at least compelling enough to like keep me involved. So yeah, I really, really enjoyed this album. If I had to rank the songs, and I don't, but I'm going to, that is what the songs look like. As I said, Almost Always is my number 1, but I got Carnival right there at number 2. I think that's a fun ride. I would go on it again. Kind of reminds me of the Simpsons episode when I think Homer is at a county fair and he eats like the hot chili peppers and he starts to hallucinate and goes on this weird like, psychedelic journey. This is sort of like the soundtrack to that if that was like an 8.5 minute experience. So yeah. And the only reason Children of Destiny is not at the bottom is because I really like that Gordon Lightfoot melody a lot. If I had to rank the album, it is not in the bottom if the bottom is everything below 25. So that is what everything from 26 to 48 looks like, which means The Visitor makes the top 25. It is not in the top 10, so after the Gold Rush, you are safe, but it is right there at number 24. So And really, you can drop all the way to like 40 before you get to a bad album, to be perfectly honest with you. So 24 is not bad. Really good album. Really enjoyed this. It's fun. It's whimsical at times. I'm going to throw out the word whimsical, but I think it's a good listen. And the politics don't get in the way. I think if you are, for some reason, a Neil Young listener and you don't agree with his politics and you've made it this far in his catalog, I don't think they're going to turn you off from this album because the music sells it. So yeah, it's a good listen. All right, that's all I got. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, share, comment, do those things. And if you have not checked out this album, go check it out. I think it is a surprisingly strong, late, I don't even know if this is what period in his career is. He's still putting albums out now to this very day, 8 years after this was released. Amazing. Peace. Talk to you later.